Welcome for joining us. I am Wang, a research scientist from the Department of Biomedical Informatics, Ohio State University College of Medicine. Today, I will introduce our real-world evidence-based disease ontology for maternal and pediatric populations. The first question, why we need a real-world disease ontology for maternal and pediatric pharmacology research? We know that the maternal and pediatric populations are very special. They are more complex than the standard adult models. First of all, these two types of the populations are dynamic. For example, the maternal population may include several stages like the pregnancy, the delivery, and the postpartum, and the physiology status may change during this process. Secondly, there are interactions between these two populations. For example, mom may interact with kid through the breastfeeding. Right now, we know there are multiple disease ontologies, but they fall short for the endpoint needs. The most importantly, there is the disconnection between the published literature data and the real-world evidence. We know that endpoint knowledge portal curates knowledge from the literatures, and for those literature, match terms are typically used to present disease. But for the real-world evidence, ICD coding system is the popular one. Right now, there are some gap between these two coding systems. Moreover, the current disease ontologies do not have sufficient pharmacological annotations. To improve this, we decide to build up a disease ontology. We call it AMPO. The, the whole picture of AMPO it consists of two phases. The phase one, we collect the real world evidence and we build the initial ontology. Then we enrich this initial ontology with the curation from Manprint team to have deeper relationship and more classes and annotations. Right now, we are in the first phase. So let's dive into what's our development method. The development workflow in the phase one includes a series of steps. We collect the real-world disease terms first, then we annotate them with some preferred names, the synonyms, and its hierarchy. After the annotation, we try to do some automatic mapping to link the real-world disease terms to other external ontologies. Finally, we will validate our disease ontology and finish the formalization. The real-world disease terms we collect came from the IBM market scan commercial claim databases. We use the data from 2016 to 2021. Generally, we collect disease terms from three populations. We use the delivery date and some time window to define the pregnancy population and the postpartum population. For the pediatric population, we use the age. The disease terms we collect from the IBM market scan database is the ICD-10 CM codes. After we collect the disease terms from real world, we try to do some annotation. First, we try to simplify the disease terms hierarchy. We only do some necessary steps. First, we convert the 7 digit codes to a 6 digit code because the 7 digit ICD codes typically represent the disease site, the left hand or the right hand. We try to find the corresponding parent code of the disease terms we collected to keep the ICD hierarchy. We use the UMLS to find the preferred names for the ICD codes. We also use the UMS to find the synonyms. More specifically, we use the overnight to do the rare disease annotation so that we won't miss anything. After the annotation, we do the automatic mapping. There are two mapping methods we use to bridge different vocabularies. First is the direct mapping. We use the official mapping files from various of ontologies so that the, the codes can be mapped directly. We also use some indirect mapping method, say using the external vocabulary and ontology as the bridge. For example, we can use the ICD code to find the corresponding LLT terms in the MADRA. Then these MADRA terms can be mapped to the UMS CUI, and we can also find some mapped mesh terms. This indirect mapping method can find some potential mappings between the ICD and the mesh terms. After we annotate the disease terms, we mapping the codes. We design the current ontology. Right now, we are using a parallel design, which is straightforward. We keep the hierarchy of the mesh terms. We keep the hierarchy of the Mondo disease ontologies. We also keep the hierarchy of the ICD code. Specifically, we add a class called the special populations. These populations can represent which population these disease terms occurred. We use the annotation properties to link different classes and the different terms. The other annotation property includes the preferred name, the synonyms, the cross-reference, the definition, and as well as the rare disease. Now we have the initial disease ontology. This can help us to build a better web portal. Right now, in the AMPL, we have 23,000 real-world ICD codes, 6,000 mesh terms, and almost 40,000 mono terms. The annotation in the ontology is around 300,000. The integrated disease ontology can bridge the gap between the clinical and the publication coding systems. Here is one example. The term with the red background is the ICD terms, and the terms with the green background is the mesh terms. For the ICD terms, we also know the frequency of these terms. So the darker color indicates a higher frequency. After the mapping bridge these ICD terms with the mesh term so that we can use this integrated ontology to cover both the clinical and the publication coding. Right now, we use the AMPL to do the disease annotation for the publications. After we get the publication from the PubMed, we retain the disease-relevant mesh headings as one type of disease annotations. Simultaneously, we use the preferred names, the synonyms of the AMPL to scan the title and the abstract of the publications. Then we can identify more disease terms. The AMPL disease ontology are used to integrate these two type of the codes as the final disease annotations. The disease annotation can be directly imported to the mPrint server database. The ample disease ontology also help to enhance the disease search in mPrint server version. Here is one example. The Mondo hierarchy allow the user to use a more broader concept to search. For example, if you search using a more general concept, like say the hypertensive disorder, the search result reflects more specific hypertensive disorder like the hypertension, the eclampsia, so that the user can utilize and print the silver version to do their own research. Right now, we have finished the phase 1 development. So what's the future? Our vision is beyond the code to add more comprehensive knowledge. The mPrint data curation can add more properties and annotations to the ample ontology. For example, the risk factors and the outcomes. We will also link the disease to more HPO terms or some specific clinical findings beyond the ICD descriptions. The clinical guidelines are the other good resources. We will link the disease to recommended screening and the interventions specific to maternal and pediatric populations. Moreover, we will add more properties and the relation between the disease and the genomics or the environmental factors or even the treatment response. We will also bring the disease ontology to life by developing a user-friendly web portal. This web portal can help user to navigate the disease hierarchies. It will also provide more powerful search. The user can query using the codes, disease terms, phenotypes, or even keywords. More specifically, we try to implement the narrow language query in the disease ontology web portal. For example, the user can use some natural language like find all pediatric rare disease associated with the cardiac defects. We hope the ample ontology will become a powerful tool for the pediatric and the maternal pharmacology study. Thank you.